Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another rules breakdown. And this week I'd like to cover the 1998 role-playing game from TSR, Alternity, which was released just after their takeover by Wizards of the Coast. Now, I don't think I made this clear in the Retro RPG on Monday, but this is the introductory box set. There was a full player's handbook, there was a full Dungeon Master's guide, but this is just the introductory one, which is why it does serve as such a brilliant introduction to role-playing games in general. It really does its job well. But the rules don't change between the versions, obviously. This just is a simplified version, and the rules breakdowns are generally just a simplified version of the rules anyway. Now, I also understand that the 2018 version uses a very slightly modified version of the rules. But what I'm going over here, from what I understand, because I don't have the new one, so I could very well be wrong, but it does look like everything I cover here will count in the new version. There's just some new extra categories tacked on. Now, I've opened the box and I've discarded everything except one of the example characters here, which we'll be using, and the rulebook, funnily enough. So, skills. If we look at the character sheet, we can see every skill is broken down into ordinary, good, and amazing chances of success. And basically you're trying to roll under that. So for a strength roll here, Azor, he gets an ordinary success if he rolls a 13 or under. If he rolls a 6 or under, he's rolled a good success. And if he's rolled a 3 or under, he's done an amazing success. But there's a modifier on these, and it's a modifier in the form of dice. So if we open up to page 5, you can see situation die tables. So if it's something he's impossible he's trying to do, then he rolls a d12 on top of his d20. So d20, d12, and adds it. Nearly impossible's a d8, very hard's a d6, challenging is a d4. There's no modifiers for average. If it's not too tough, he gets minus a d4. If it's really easy, he gets a d6, and no sweat, minus d8, and if it's a sure thing, it's a minus d12. So let's say he's trying something really impossible. So he's rolling a d20 and a d12 and trying to get under. So we roll them and we add, and we get 20, so he has failed. However, if it was a sure thing, then he'd be subtracting that. So the 14, which would fail, would have 6, so he'd have achieved an 8, so he'd have achieved an ordinary success. Now for initiative, everybody only gets one action first of all per round. But rounds are broken down into phases, and it's based on your actions here. So we're rolling a d20 and we're trying to get under his action scores. So if we roll and we get a 2, we've got an amazing success there. So amazing successes from players go first, followed by amazing successes from NPCs. Then good players, good NPCs. Then ordinary players, ordinary NPCs. Marginal players, marginal NPCs. And just a note, NPCs don't actually roll. They've got their actions written on their character sheets, so they go then by default. Now, combat skill rolls are like every other skill roll. We look here at Azor's character sheet and we can see that he has a ranged weapon skill where an ordinary success is a 12, a good success is a 6, and an amazing success is a 3. Now these are modified as before. If we go to page 15. So if it's extreme range, he's adding a d8. If it target's under a heavy cover, adding a d8. If the target's dodging, it's a d6. If medium cover, d6. Light cover, d4. If you're at point blank range, it's minus a d4. So Azor's here is trying to shoot somebody at point blank range, let's say. So we roll his d20 and he gets a 10 and he gets a 2 on that, so he's got an 8. So he's just got an ordinary success. He hasn't lowered it enough to get a good or an amazing success. And the level of success carries over onto damage. So the damage you do is based on the weapon and how good you rolled. You see, if we look over here at Azor's weapons, he's got his unarmed skills and he's got his laser pistol. So for an ordinary success, he does a d4 plus 1 wounds damage. With his fists, he does a d4 plus 2 stun damage. For good successes, it's a d6 plus 1 wounds, or d4 plus 3 stun. And for an amazing success, a d4 plus 4 stun, and a d8 plus 1 wounds. So in this case, he got an ordering success. We said he was using his ranged weapons pistol skill, so he's got a d4 plus 1, so we roll a d4. We've got a 4 there, plus 1, so he does 5 points of damage. Now those 5 points of damage go through to somebody's wounds. So if they take stun wounds, they've got the health boxes here that they check off. And for actual wounds, they've got a wounds category here that they check off. Now, in this case, Azor here has an armor, a set of armor, which protects him from d6 minus 1. So we've got 5 damage. He rolls his d6 minus 1, he gets 1. So he only takes 4 points of damage off his wounds because it was the laser pistol doing wounds damage. Now remembering this is just the beginner's game, because in the full player's handbook it details advancement in a bit more detail and the sort of levels and things that you work through. But in here, if we look at the back of the character booklet, we have improving skills detailed. Now, the player's handbook suggests earning between 1 to 3 points per adventure. So, a hero earns achievement points for successfully completing adventures. Between adventures, those points may be spent to improve the hero. Here's how. Increasing a specialty skill. You can spend 1 achievement point to increase a specialty skill by 1 point. You can increase a score by more than 1 point between adventures. Buying a new skill. You can spend 2 achievement points to purchase a broad or specialty skill your hero doesn't have. And increasing your action check score. You can spend 3 achievement points to increase your hero's action check score by 1 point between adventures. And so that's a very brief look at Alternity. Now it's an older system and are not that common, but the rules are quite solid and I can see you having a lot of fun with this. Anyway, I've gone on for quite long enough as usual. Please like, subscribe and comment below as it does me massive favours with the YouTube algorithm. But most of all, as always, you look after yourselves. I'll catch you later. Bye now.